Okay, now what is it you actually think that you could work out from looking at one of the videos I've done based upon, let's say, ouija boards? What can you work out about where I'm coming from? Well, first and foremost, you would have to say that I'm a skeptical individual. And I'm a skeptical individual because I say the facts. Namely, we can't say that on the strength of a Ouija board seance there is such a thing as a ghost or a spectre or anything. All we can say is that there's strange coincidences which occur occasionally during the experience of the Ouija board seance. Now, I don't believe that the planchette moves about all by itself, or that the spirit is pressing it with its little fingers so that you can feel it moving underneath your fingers. No, I'm a person who accepts the ideomotor effects, which is something which, funnily enough, people who are skeptical of any form of supernaturalism tends to throw into the argument whenever there is some kind of debate about spirits or ghosts or indeed, Ouija boards and so on and so forth. Alright, so I'm talking about the whole subject from a skeptical standpoint. I don't know whether we can say that spirits actually exist, alright, but there's certain strange things that happen. That's essentially all I can say. And because strange things happen, it says something about us as human beings, as we have the capacity to experience these things. Now, as far as like what the similarities are, or the what the strange experiences are, they are variable, they are erratic, but they do happen. From those experiences, some people make a big, what I regard as being a big intellectual mistake, and that is that they develop very strong, very dogmatically held religious beliefs. Alright, they say that this is proof of life after death. This is proof of eternity. This is proof of God. Objective, hard, fast, solid, empirical evidence. Solid, totally incontrovertible in any way whatsoever. That's wrong. That's incorrect, by my estimation. Can we prove that ghosts exist? No. We can have strange experiences, but because we have them, maybe we could extrapolate a little, not necessarily create a massive, strongly held dogmatic belief that there are demons, angels, spirits and all the rest of it, but that there may be some other dimension or aspect to human consciousness that we are still trying to understand, which apparently seems to, under some circumstances, appear to extend outside of the body, the head, the brain, and possibly across distance and time. That's the way it appears to be occasionally. That's the way it seems to be. Methods of trying to interact with it somehow appear to be due to certain varieties of altered states of consciousness experience, alright, which has an impact upon the brain waves as well as the ability to perceive certain things. Alright, more to do with perception in a cognitive sense, as well as perception in terms of geospatial, I suppose you could call it, awareness. So the word perception is being used in certain ways here, okay? If it was being done purely by me in meditation, sure, I could turn around to you and tell you afterwards what things appeared in my mind, just like I did with the meditation experiment I did way back, around about Christmas time. And I'll be doing another one coming on to probably this coming Christmas time as well. Or we could use a variety of device which exploits a form of very mild hallucination which is based loosely upon persistence of vision, such as the dark mirror experiment which I've explained before. Okay? And that just uses persistence of vision. There's like a little bit of like distortion, and hey presto, after a while of being in your meditative state, a face appears to appear. And sometimes you can have some kind of connection to the thing it is that you've been calling forth in your meditation. And then of course there's the other classification. So you've got your straight meditation, you've got the sort of hallucination and persistence of vision type method. Then of course you've got the ideomotor type methods. And ideomotor methods include the use of pendulum and the use of the Ouija board. As I've said, I don't think that there is a spirit that is like deliberately moving the planchette under your fingers, so essentially, oh, it can move by itself. No, it's the fingers of the person who's doing it that actually does the moving. Okay. And this seems to happen in two different ways. Either something inside your mind can basically be saying, I think it should be moved in that direction or in that direction or whatever, and you start doing that, and hey presto, it becomes part of a message which you're not consciously aware of. Or alternatively, you get little minuscule movements of the fingers, and hey presto, the planchette starts to move in various different directions as a result of subconscious movements. Alright? Similar thing with the pendulum. It swings one way, it swings another. You build up a system of communication with the pendulum, and hey presto, you can use that in a similar way, just using small movements of the tips of your fingers or movements of your arm, which is more sort of like subconsciously driven. Okay? So with the Ouija board, there is much more freedom for something within your consciousness, within your mind, to be able to say, I think the planchette should be moving in that direction, but not quite know what the message that the whole thing is trying to spell out is coming out with. With the pendulum, I tend to use that much more in terms of just using little minuscule movements which appear like subconsciously, okay, when you're in a meditative state of mind. Now, you could say that there is a bit of a crossover between the dark mirror method as well as using something like tarot, runes and other things. Especially these days when the divination tarot decks, especially like the Crowley Thoth tarot deck, which I use rather a lot, has got a very great wealth of symbolism. If you spend a long time, and I mean a long time, learning it, playing with it, building like an intimate relationship with the symbols and the ideas and what they become, you know, as some kind of meanings to you relating to different aspects of life itself, then when you lay out a spread, and if you're in a meditative state, some particular symbols can come forward, and a story can start to be generated as a result of some particular symbols seemingly like jumping out at you, or you know, that's the one which I should be talking about at the moment, and so on and so forth. So that has some kind of connection with something to do with something you might experience in something akin to the dark mirror experiment, but it's done using symbols. What about the outcome of the cards? Well, there could be an idiomotic connection when you're actually doing the shuffling, but on the other hand, it could be completely random, and maybe it's not the actual outcome of the spread which is important, but the way that the symbols communicate with you and with things going on inside your mind as a result of a long time doing your meditation and other weird stuff. Okay, and so the whole of this like divination stuff and all the rest of it, it's to do with trying to find ways of generating strange experiences which are basically consciousness based. Alright? So I'm not going to turn around to you and say that the devil is going to come out of the Ouija board and he's going to like fart fire all over the place. You know, I'm not going to say, oh, you got to be afraid, you mustn't do that in the dark of the moon because then that will really mess you up. Because people who do that are arseholes. Alright, I don't want you to be superstitious, I don't want you to be afraid of all this stuff, it's just strange experiences, that's all. And I think it's worthwhile taking that point of view because it's more rational. So that's what I think. Now if you want to turn around and say that, oh yeah, Nick has just confessed that, you know, he thinks there are spirits all around him, well, I don't know about that. And there's no way we can say that. I mean, how on earth can we empirically test that? We can't. But what we can do is just see what strange stuff can happen. Alright? That's all I'll say for the moment. Great and glorious Nick Dutch. Signing out for now. Keep cool. Don't panic. Don't become a superstitious lunatic. Alright? It does appear that there is consciousness everywhere at times, okay? But just relax. Because you're the one who's in charge of your life anyway, so chill.